right or wrong, GDP way to measure the growth. This is a subject which is discussed regularly in the magazines, newspapers. Is GDP the real measure of your national wealth? Is it a correct measurement what we follow? We have three outstanding speakers. One is Mr. Arun Kumar, former professor of JNU, and you must have seen him regularly in Big Dadiwala. Very, very critical of many of the initiatives. Then we got Mr. Sivaraman, former Revenue Secretary and also former Executive Director of IMF. Then we got Mauti Vimal, Chief Economist from Deloitte. So they are going to be talking to us. It's happening right here on the 25th of March at 6 p.m. Then next we have an event on leading through adversity, management and leading principles in high-stakes challenges. What we actually, this topic is a little complicated, but what we basically going to discuss is, many times in your life, you come into some adverse situations where you can, all of a sudden, doctor will tell you got a cardiac arrest or something and you are not able to get out. Similarly, in corporate world also, you get similar situation where you are unable to recover. This team is going to talk to you, and because one of the lady, Radha Krishnan, she's author of the book and she's a cancer survivor. She's going to say how she got hit when doctor diagnosed him as a cancer. Then we also got a person who is Josh Esco, is the head of director of medical hematology and many things from Apollo Photon Hospital, one of the best. He's going to tell us because he's meeting so many patients and how they're dealing with. We also have a corporate leader, Mr. Anand Krishnan, founder of is from Stanford. She's a mediation teacher, writer, poet. She's from one of the leading training centers from Bangalore. She's going to be moderating the session. This on 28th. Then on 5th of April, we have again a very interesting subject, sustainability, why ESG is not enough. I know being in the corporate world, you know why ESG is so important today, because when you have to do business with European Union or many countries, they put this thing because they've done everything, now they're putting the blame on us. But is it right or wrong? Only if you want your business to succeed and prosper, you have to know what is ESG. We have an outstanding speaker again, Rajiv Peshwaria is one of the known person in the international field in terms of ESG. He is coming from Singapore. We have Mr. Shivakumar, committee member, and Ramesh, and a couple of other people who are there to do that. Quickly, I have also tell you what's happening on April. We got Mr. Muttaya Memorial Lecture. This we are doing jointly with the Colors of Foundation, the Lives of Writer. Srikumar Verma, Srikumar Verma is, the famous artist Ravi Verma. You must have seen the paintings. His grandson. He's going to be talking to us. Then we have Rian Grow. Then we have a seminar on arbitration in the age of globalization. We have one on 30th April. You see quite a lot of them in the newspaper. Swami Ji again. Yes, the ad wars actually. It's making competition healthy. I don't know to tell name and there is some misleading ads come and where people get carried away and the court has summoned the person who was really given the ad. So we are going to tell, because as a management professional, you should be clear about what you are going to offer. And we, MMA, strongly believe always under promise and over deliver. We have been doing this every time consistently. And coming to today's evening, I can tell you it's another important milestone day for MMA, because we got the outstanding leaders in armed forces who are going to be joining us, who have done exceedingly well in their respective field. One of them serving, two of them retired. And the gentleman who are going to be talking to us and who took part in actual Operation 1971, he's going to be telling you some interesting anecdotes and stories. And I used to keep wondering, sir, you are the inspiration. If he has taken part in 1971 war, I don't know to tell you what his age is. See the way he's agile and see the way he's going to communicate. See the way how alert he is. Why I'm telling you, all the people who are watching this program, it will be a great inspiration for you to follow him and emulate him and get set some rigid things for you to be emulating him in future. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got some outstanding panel I mentioned to you. Please put your hand together to welcome this evening Gen Karanbir Singh, General Officer Commanding of Dakshin Bharat Area, Air Marshal Varthaman, former Air Officer Commanding in Chief, Eastern Air Command, Indian Air Force. Sqn Ldr Pushp Vaid is the hero who is going to be talking to us this evening, author, independent management consultant, and advisor, and Mr. Magalingam, President of MMA. May I request you please come and take your place on the dais, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm round of applause to our distinguished panel this evening. The format of the program is as usual, after the welcome address and formal soft launch of the book. Then if you have any questions, the number flashed on your screen. You can send all the questions. We will collate them and put it before distinguished panel. Before I call upon the President MMA to deliver the formal welcome address, is alumnus of NIT Trichy and IIM Calcutta, over 35 years of experience, and is a transformative leader, and is also a managing partner director of TSM Magalingam Sons. Is a very, very keen angel investor, put up a number of investments in startups, and a very good president for MMA because he's the one who transformed, and many initiatives have been introduced under his presidentship. I now request Mr. Magalingam to deliver the formal welcome address. Mr. Magalingam.
Good evening, everybody. A very, very warm good evening on a very, very warm evening in Chennai. Hope all of you are doing good. At MMA, it's a very unique day, and it's a very proud day for us to be on stage with such illustrious people who guard our country. Really, it's an honor to us. Thank you, sirs, for being here. It's my privilege to deliver the welcome address at this special event under MMA Leaders Speak series, a unique discussion on Mi-4s at war liberation in Bangladesh. It's my special honor this evening to welcome Sqn Ldr Pushp Vaid, VrC retired, 1971 India-Pak war hero, the distinguished speaker this evening. Welcome, sir. Lieutenant General Karanbir Singh Brar, AVSM, General Officer Commanding Dakshin Bharat Area, was so kindly accepted our invitation to be here this evening, despite his busy commitments, and address the members of MMA. Thank you, sir. And Air Marshal S. Varthaman, retired PVSM, AVSM, VM, VSM, former Air Officer Commanding in Chief, Eastern Air Command, was not new to MMA. He's spoken here before, and has always been an inspiration to have you with us at MMA. Welcome back again, sir. I take this opportunity to welcome all the participants who have joined us this evening, guests and members of MMA from all over Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry, officers from Dakshin Bharat Area, veterans, guests of partner organization, NCC cadets, which I can see, and the large number of participants from all over the country who have joined us online. We normally, for all our programs, get more than a few thousand people watching us online over a period of time. For the benefit of our guests and invitees from various organizations, let me give you a few numbers about MMA. Started in 1956, now 58 years and 59 running. More than 8,000 members, 10 chapters, and most importantly, the Best Management Association Award in the country, 14 years running. And the man who's been through all those 14 years is another forces man, Group 10, Vijay Kumar. So the force with the forces is today. In a short while, we'll have the opportunity to hear from the GOC about the technological advancements impacting future warfare and the imperative for industry collaboration. War veteran Squadron Leader Vaid will provide highlights into the actual operations undertaken during the war, while Air Marshal will share his experience. We are waiting for it, actually. All of us are. Management and military and war might sound not so similar, but they have a lot in common. Whether it's the strategy, the planning, the tactics, the detail, the execution, the agility in decision-making on the field, etc., are not uncommon in management, though not at the level the forces practice it. I think there's more at stake when the forces practice is defending our country, but management, I remember reading books like Marketing Warfare, one of the pioneering books by Trout and Rice, which marketing was treated as a battlefield, and competition between, and guerrilla marketing, which was quite common in those days. So the military and warfare have always inspired managers and inspired marketeers. So as a student, I experienced this, I'm not talking now 40 years back. So I think the forces have always inspired managers and marketers. Thank you for that again. Yeah. Specific to the 1971 war, I should say, I was around 8 years old when the war happened. And for the first time I experienced something called goosebumps was when the Bangladesh war was won by India, actually. Because for us, patriotism here down south was about poetry by Subramania Bharati and stuff like that. But when we saw the image of General Arora and getting the surrender doctrine from Niazi is a moment etched in our memories. Goosebumps moments over. And we are hoping we can relive this goosebumps moment today, this evening. Thank you so much for doing this for us. We're really looking forward to it. Also take this opportunity to welcome the past presidents of MMA, colleagues of the management committee, members of MMA, distinguished invitees, management student members who have joined, and all of you watching on YouTube, Facebook, and MMA Live MMA. Looking forward to many goosebump moments and letting a lot to learn from the general. Thank you for being here again. Welcome all of you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mali. As usual, very, very inspiring welcome Madras. And now it's my privilege. We'll formally launch the book. Mali, we have to request you to come and release a copy of the book. I'll tell you the format. It will be released by the chief guest, then followed by we request General Karanbir Singh to address the audience on the theme which has been there. And before that, maybe I'll request Pushpa Singh to please release the book formally. It's now my privilege to introduce the general, and he's going to be talking to us on technological advancements impacting future war, fighting, and need for industry collaboration. And let me also introduce General first, and Lieutenant General Karanbir Singh Brar is assumed the command as a General Officer Commanding of Dakshin Bharat Area, Chennai in April 15, 2023. With nearly 4 decades of distinguished service, he had held key roles in various operational areas, including Jammu and Kashmir and UN missions. Adept to technology, he led projects on the light tanks and the swarm drones and recognized with AVSM and commendations cards. He is committed to the upholding the armed forces traditions and ensuring operational readiness and welfare veterans of the new role. And before I call upon the General, and General has been so kind, he showed me on video, which was shot, very, very rare video, that is a grandfather. So what do you want to know more about video? Because you're all privileged to watch this video today. Very rarely people must have seen a very, very rare video. And before I call upon General, I want to, with your permission, show the video to the people who are watching this program live. And may I have the AV, please, video? Thank you, General. What a great evening, and we've seen the video, goosebump, and the person who contributed to that ultimate thing, what happened to, in some extent, Dr. Sqn Ldr Vaid is here. He's going to share his story. I think it's a great moment. Now I request the General to come and address the audience on the theme, technological advancements impacting future war fighting and the need for industry collaboration. Let me have the privilege of presenting General to you, sir. General. Yes, please.
A Marshal Varthaman sir, Sqn Ldr Vaid sir, Mr. Mahalingam, Group Captain Vijay Kumar, distinguished guests, NCC cadets, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, thank me for this invitation to speak to you on this occasion. And thank you also for showing the video. And when Group Captain Vijay Kumar came to me, that is War on 71, so I couldn't help sharing this video, which I proudly share. So the background of this video, I think possibly is not known, because I'll just give you that, what he told me. Of course, I don't know whether the surrender ceremony, which is so famous, of General Arora, the army commander, signing with Niazi, was signed on 16th December. This brigade commander of Pakistan, his name is Brigadier Hayat. He was of 107 in Pak Infantry Brigade. I think he was in Khulna. He was fighting valiantly and he had not surrendered. And he said, I will not surrender. So this signing had already taken place on 16th December 71. So possibly the task was given to the division which my grandfather was commanding, that you have one night to sort this guy out. Otherwise, it will be an embarrassment that we have signed this thing and he is not surrendering. So during the night, whatever was done, some stories maybe later, what I was told. So, but in the morning, he surrendered, and that is why, since whole media was there, and this is a footage, I think possibly anywhere in the world, somebody removing his ranks and belt, it has never happened. So this thing, I think, is very rare, and one is very proud to be associated with it. So thank you, sir, for showing this video. I'm sure this will give some kind of an insight to what happens in war. Okay, I have a topic. I was told that sometime, so I think maybe related to warfare, but which is connected with the industry, technological advancement impacting future warfighting, and what is the need for collaboration of industry. And since one has been involved in a lot of these events and projects, like which was just mentioned in my previous tenure at DG Armored Corps, light tanks, storm drone, a lot of niche technology project, and here also I am interacting with IIT Madras and all these other people, DRDO industries, SIDM, TN Defense Corridor. So I thought I'll just speak a few words, take few minutes and speak to you on that. Firstly, just to, not that it is not known, start with the point that you need strong armed forces for maintaining peace. You don't need them for war, you need them for maintaining peace, because the moment you are weak, you are likely to be attacked. And you can see any examples, whether you see Afghanistan, Ukraine, because, nobody attacks North Korea. So there are reasons. So, you have to be strong so that nobody attacks you, and you have to be strong for that reason. Now, if you're seeking a global or a regional power status, everybody wants to have that. And why do you want to have that? That is again for the reason that if you have a superpower or a regional power status, you can dictate things. And the well-being of the country, or the status or the economic well-being of its citizen, is directly related to the power. So that's why you find US and China juggling for superpower or the power status. And if India has to grow, and if India has to absolutely become, as they say, developed by 2047 or whatever the other vision and path is, definitely you need. So, and that's not, but I thought I'll give that as the base. But here, what I want to say is that any kind of a development or preparedness of armed forces takes time. Any capability, you have to have the right ecosystems. In India, unfortunately, our ecosystem was of the DRDO, the defense PSUs, largely, and large amount was import. So this kind of arrangement sufficed even in 71 war. But now things have totally changed, because, technology has come in. The scope of war has enhanced. It's just not a military fighting. It can start from cyber war. It can start from economic war. It can have your blockades in the sea, this pirates happening. They can break down your financial institutions. You can have a biological war. The COVID was the whole nation had to get together to fight, whether it was a war or not, but definitely, these kind of things happen. So therefore, a whole of a nation approach is required, whether it is required for fighting or for preparing. So this ecosystem, which did not have private industry to a large extent, suffice, but not now. So therefore, my topic is that if we have to go in the future war fighting, the industry, the private, the startups, the academia, the research, everybody has to be part of it. So I'll be slightly giving you reasons. The first important reason is, as I said, there was a lot of import content which was there. And now it is stopped for the right reasons, because we have seen in the recent wars that if you're dependent, then you can't fight your enemy. You have to be self-reliant. And the slogan which has been given, Atmanirbhar. So that goes without saying. Even between Russia and West, why is Russia doing well? Because it is self-reliant. Ukraine is depending everything. Now, if you're following the wars, the missile, Javelin missile, which you heard a lot, the stock has finished for next 10 years as far as the West is concerned. They don't have artillery round ammunition. But that is not the problem with Russia. So Russia was self-reliant as far as the defense capability is concerned. They have just ramped up the capacity and they will continue to sustain, which is not the case with Ukraine. Ukraine in any case was relying on West. The West made a bad calculation that wars are short, swift. That narrative is actually no longer true. Wars can drag. It is not on you. It is the opponent who will decide. So, you have to be prepared for the worst condition. So therefore, this thing of being importing, so this gap has to be filled in by the private industry. There's a lot of import content which has to be indigenized. Next, the ordnance factories and these DRDO and, we have a tank factory here also. They are doing a good job. I'm not saying they're doing a good job, but definitely the capacity and the efficiency needs improvement. So there also the private industry has to come in as far as the manufacturing of spares are concerned, or even for overall or basic. So, that is for the current equipment. As far as the future technology is concerned, the future war is actually going in another dimension. Now I will take you what you keep hearing, this Elon Musk. He is a private player, but he gives you Starlink communication and he gives you an ISR. You have private space companies which are giving you absolutely pinpoint targeting. You have now this autonomous vehicle and especially drones, the FPV, first person view drones, which can go and target. So all these things which are getting generated are not getting generated from the traditional defense industry. These are private players. In fact, some are students. In Ukraine, some are actually being made at home. So, this kind of an ecosystem in which anybody sitting here can plan and think, because all this is possible because now technology is available to you. It is off the shelf. And as far as cyber war is concerned, it is entirely in the, so to say, civil domain, because cyber war can be launched at any end by anybody. So these are the factors by which we, as who are in uniform, have to understand that the future war will require all this ecosystem to be developed. So therefore, as far as the traditional equipment is concerned, you need manufacturing and other enhanced capacity, which in addition to the ordnance factories and the DPSUs and, Bell Chennai is also here. They also actually are now changing they are collaborating with the private industry on their own. They realize that remaining isolated and trying to just get all the orders and say that this will take time is not working. So some kind of accountability is also there with them. So they are now themselves going to private. So they are also collaborating. As far as the private industry is concerned, the big industries have come in, which are like, Mahindra, L&T, Bharat Forge, and all others which are there, which are traditionally also were in defense. So they are integrators. But the more chances for the MSMEs and more chances for the startups. Like the startups which are now with defense, there are the policy which also has facilitated, initially the policies and procurement policies were very, very rigid. Now there are something called IDEX. There are some R&D routes. There are some other, which of course, if interested, one can explain to them since I've been handling all that. So those have opened up. And coming here, being a GOC, and since I'm talking on this topic, one has tried to build an ecosystem where one is helping the people I've been associated with for trials, or if they need some access to something, or even, as I said, there's a research park in IIT which I'm entering. There is ISC Bangalore also one has visited to, and more so now with ISRO. ISRO also one has been interacting as far as met the chairman. In fact, there was a launch which was scheduled tomorrow, but it got delayed for some reason. So ISRO, why? Because, the warfare which was limited to land, air, sea has gone to other three domains, which is cyber, electromagnetic, you can let that, and space. And space, not for the kinetic use, hopefully not, but, a thing in which somebody sitting in US can direct a drone which is over Afghanistan and kill somebody in Iran. So these kind of things can only happen if your communications, your ISR is through satellites. And in satellites also there are so many versions which have come up. So in all this, as I've tried to highlight, there's a very, very high need for collaboration with the civil industry. So in the time allotted, I can only tell you that one has been doing these projects and one has driven these projects with this intent, and there are a number of them. But I think I will end with, there's a audio video of a swarm drone, a project which I initiated in 21 and signed the contract much before the Ukraine war and much before, drones became popular. So I'm talking of August 21, is almost 3 years back. So this was a trial. I think you'll have it. Yes. Just play it. You see, this was a trial of a swarm drone in mountain areas. So this was a demonstrative video to explain how swarm drones function. So when we talk of artificial intelligence and all these other things, the drones actually are communicating artificially with artificial. They are given a target area to scan. So that is a task given. On their own, they scan the target area, and from their data library, they relate it, whether that scanned thing is it's a tank, or it's an artillery gun, or it's some person, or it's what kind of a target. And once that target is identified, you send the kamikaze or the strike drones. And when these drones go there you obviously don't allow this thing. You have a man in the loop, which is called man-unmanned teaming. So this officer on the tank has a tab which controls the strike if he wants to target it. And this was the actual demo. So that drone thing threw something, just some kind of a stone or something was thrown on the actual tank. So that's all, you can close it. So, this is a project which has been done in 21. So like this, there are a number of them which I have led. Thank you. So number of such projects one has led, and that is why with experience, I can definitely say all this was in-house. So definitely the talent is there. There are so many people doing so many things. The only thing is they need some kind of a right direction and guidance from the user. Because, ultimately each of you are working in your field. So to make a drone, somebody must be working in the frame, somebody is working in software, somebody is working in something else, and then you kamikaze somebody else. But anyway, this ecosystem is coming up. But I thought, since I'm going to a industry, management is, and maybe we have industry people here or related people, so I must cover this topic. Thank you for giving me this invite. Thank you so much. Jen.
Thank you, sir. Thought-provoking insights, and we have seen this only when my children playing, but now it's become a reality now. It's my privilege now to introduce Air Marshal Varthaman, PVSM, AVSM, VM, VSM. He's a distinguished fighter pilot, served in the Indian Air Force for over 39 years, graduating from the Science School, Amaravati Nagar, and the NDA Kadakwatsla. He commanded a MiG-21 squadron and played a pivotal role during Kargil conflict and Indo-Pak tensions in 2001, notable for his diplomatic stint in Paris and strategic leadership of modernizing program. He received the Param Vishwas Seva Medal and other honors now retired and residing in Chennai, continues to contribute to defense community. Not contribute, it does phenomenal work where we are engaged as Chennai Air Veterans. And thank you so much, sir. Now I request Air Marshal Varthaman to deliver the introductory remarks. Over to you, sir.
The President, Executive Director, General Officer Commanding, Pushp sir, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear NCC cadets, I'm sure it will be a very inspiring evening to you all, and may you all grow up to make our nation number one. We just saw the video with the General showed us on the surrender ceremony. I mean, it really is a matter of great pride for all of us Indians. But we only remember it when we are going to talk about it, and then we bring out the video and show, and then we all get pumped up. But we have to be a proud nation. And to be a proud nation, you cannot forget every single step that made you a great nation. In 13 days, our military created a new nation. In 13 days, took 93,000 prisoners. I mean, no other country in the world has ever done this. We created a nation, we gave it to the civil administration, and we came back, and it's a prospering nation today. It's a singular achievement of the Indian military. So when we talk of the achievement of the Indian military, there are so many soldiers and leaders who fought this war with courage, with determination, with bravery. One of them is Sqn Ldr Pushp Vaid. I served 40 years in the Air Force. In the 40 years, I did not know about Sqn Ldr Pushp Vaid. I did not even know of the campaign that they did. I did not know that it was instrumental in the collapse of the Pakistani army that led to the surrender. Now I am wise because I met Pushp sir. And what did Pushp sir do? He joined the Indian Air Force in 1963. When he was a cadet, he had not yet become an officer. The Indian Air Force, you know what happened in 1962. We lost the war with China. So in 1963, it was immediately after the war, the Indian Air Force realized that we need helicopters to fight in the Himalayas. And we were short of helicopter pilots. So as a young cadet, he's not an officer, as a young cadet, he was offered to branch off to helicopters. They asked him, would you like to volunteer? He said, yes. And he was sent away to England. He learned to fly the helicopter and came back to the Air Force, flew helicopters, and even won this particular war. He was a young officer just with about 10 years of service when he became the flight commander of a unit called 110 Helicopter Unit. This helicopter unit was tasked to carry out the operations, which he will talk about. I will not expand on it. He had a bunch of young officers who were not more than 25 years old. And these young officers, led by a young, brave and courageous pilot, they did what he will narrate to you during his presentation. Soon after the war, he decided to leave, retire from the Air Force, and he chose to migrate to England, where he did a multitude of helicopter operations. He even did crop spraying, and thereafter he joined the British Airways helicopter division. He flew all over the country, all over the world, including Brunei, which I've never heard of, and all over the planet he flew. And at the age of 60, he branched out to another helicopter company called Shriner and flew till the age of 65. And in this, when he retired, he had 7,500 hours of helicopter flying. I am certain there is not a single helicopter pilot in this country today who's got 7,500 hours. It's an amazing flying. And in the Indian Air Force, when we say you got 7,500 hours, we also say, did he have accident-free flying? You know, did he destroy a helicopter? But he destroyed a helicopter as well. Now what happened is another story which you all must ask him. He was the captain of a Chinook helicopter. You all must have seen the Chinook helicopter in the Indian Air Force. It's the biggest military helicopter today. We have 15 of them in our country. He flew that over the North Sea. And the helicopter bearing collapsed and the helicopter crashed into the sea. There were 45 passengers on board. All of them died except one. His crew died and only he and one passenger survived. Total 45 people died in that accident. It went and crashed into the sea into pieces and he miraculously survived. It is rated as the most catastrophic helicopter accident of the world. You must see the videos and you must see the narration of what really happened to this helicopter. So he is a very experienced pilot, gone through disasters. He fought the war, he went through an accident, and he's lived to tell the tale, and you will hear his story today. Over to Pushp sir, and thank you for enlightening me. And I keep talking to him continuously. He's staying with me, so I'm very fortunate. And he narrates all the stories that he has gone through. Enjoy the stories. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I have a PowerPoint presentation which I'll give it to you. Like I mentioned to you, I was in the Air Force for 11 years and I was fortunate to be the flight commander of 110 helicopter unit. Flight commander is the ops manager. He's running the show. And today I'll tell you the story of what we did for those 2 weeks during the Bangladesh war. First thing is there's a gentleman called General Sagat Singh. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. I have a PowerPoint presentation which I'll give it to you. Like I mentioned to you, I was in the Air Force for 11 years and I was fortunate to be the flight commander of 110 helicopter unit. Flight commander is the ops manager. He's running the show. And today I'll tell you the story of what we did for those 2 weeks during the Bangladesh war. First thing is there's a gentleman called General Sagat Singh. And in my view and in my experience, he was the best general in the whole world. I don't think any general come close to him. Wherever he went, he won. Didn't matter what place he went, he won. We were fortunate to be attached to him. He was the GOC of FOCO, and he had the wisdom to request the Indian Air Force and to request the Indian Army to get a helicopter unit attached to the Army. So 110 helicopter unit was attached to FOCO. So before the war started, 110 became FOCO. The only difference between us and the Army was we were wearing blue uniform, overalls, and they were wearing green, and that's it. And everything else, we were same. So when the war started, on the 3rd of December, I'll just go through this. You'll probably get a better experience of it. That's me 52 years ago, young and handsome. That's a helicopter. And that's the Mi-4 cabin. And we had these 2 doors, which we removed them, clamshell doors. So when we remove them, then the back has got a big hole at the back, so the passengers can jump in and jump out instantaneously. And we can carry bigger load. Also, we removed the seats. We had no seats at all in the helicopter. We had no safety belts. We had no ropes. We had no nets. And throughout the war, we just loaded up the luggage first, and then we told the passengers, go and sit down on top. And the pilots were sitting in the front, and they were told not to get out of the cockpit because it's waste time. And the guy who was handling the passengers, called flight engineer, and he used to stand where the ladder is over here. He had no safety belt. Only thing he had was a headset to talk to us, that passengers are okay, we're ready to go. That's all. And wherever we landed, he'll be the first one to jump out and put his hands out and stand near the tail rotor so that none of the passengers run to the tail rotor. It was very dangerous, so somebody's head can be chopped off. And he was the last one to get in. And always, he was standing right at the edge over there. There was no place for him to get in any further at all. And this is another picture of the same cabin. And of course, it shows you in the Himalayas what the helicopters were doing. Sorry. This is our cockpit, very, very basic cockpit. The only navigation aid we had was a magnetic compass and a gyro compass. That's all, nothing else. And we had no autopilot. It was all manual flying. And it had a piston engine, no jet engine, but very reliable. It never let us down. Anytime it was going to have any problem, it gave me enough warning, please land, please land, please land, and then engineers could come and fix it. I flew this for 11 years, 3,300 hours experience I have on these helicopters. And for during the war, we flew this 14 helicopters continuously, non-stop, 24/7. Not a single accident, not one accident during the war. And I was the oldest, I was 30, and the youngest, I'll show you the pictures of some of the pilots. This is just showing what we were doing during the war. And here the pilots. This gentleman here, Dakshin Bharat, he was just 19, and rest of them were 22, 23, 24. And Dakshin Bharat had total experience of 500 hours. Very basic, he had just come from training, and he'd been with us for a year and a half, and we'd been training him. And when the war was being planned, and March, April onwards, we knew the war is coming because Mujibur Rahman had won the elections, and the West Pakistan had decided to cancel the election, so he couldn't become the Prime Minister. They didn't want a Bengali to be the Prime Minister. So he had come to Bangladesh, East Pakistan, and declared independence. And of course, all hell broke loose. And they sent General Tikka and General Niazi to East Pakistan to suppress them. And by God, they suppressed them. More than 1 million Bengalis were killed. A lot of women were raped. And more than between 6 and 10 million refugees came to India. Obviously, Indira Gandhi and the government of India could not cope with that kind of numbers. So they went to UN, they went to Americans, they went to the Britishers. Nobody was interested. Nobody wanted to help. The only country which was helping us was the Russians. And so she came back and she told General Manekshaw, please start preparing for the war. We want to go to war as soon as possible. And General Manekshaw had the wisdom to tell her that we cannot go to war during the monsoons. We have to go after the monsoons, which the government of India agreed. And that was a big bonus for all of us to start preparing for the war. You know, we needed time to prepare for the war. And for helicopter boys, we got trained. We told the war is coming. Start practicing, start doing low-level flying, start doing a lot of training, night flying and everything. So we had plenty of time. And we got everybody rated for night flying. And by that time, December, war came. And just rest of the pictures are just showing you what the other pilots as well, and some engineers are there. Sorry. And these, sorry. I'm jumping up and down. Okay. This shows you the list of all the names and pilots. We had 3 helicopter units with me. 110 was the main unit, which had 8 helicopters. 105, which came from Chabua, had 4 helicopters. And 111, which was in Hashimara, had 2 helicopters. So total, we had 12. 8 helicopters arrived there for the war on the 3rd of December. 4 joined us on the 6th of December from Chabua. And then 2 joined us later on the 10th of December. And that is a little diary I had for the entire 2 weeks of the operation. I used to write everybody's name down, write down all the air cards available for the following day, plan for the following day, and everybody knew what they were going to be doing the following day. Always had two pilots as duty pilots, and their job was to collect information and pass it on to me or to my CO so that we could plan whatever information came. If both of us were not available, it was their duty to get hold of helicopter, get hold of the pilots and get the job done. And the main job was casualty evacuation. We had to pick up the casualties, we had to pick up the dead bodies from the field and bring them to the hospital. So we always had 3 or 4 helicopters stand by for casualty evacuation. And also, while they were bringing casualties, we used to, on the way out, they would take arms and ammunition and troops and supply them to whichever army wanted us to do that. So that was going on all the time. 3 or 4 helicopters were always kept for that. And rest of the helicopters were used for supply, taking the troops, which I'll tell you the story about. And that diary was still with me. So I went to USI about a month and a half ago and handed over that diary because they have a room of like a museum for 1971. I said, if that diary is lying at my home, it'll get binned. Because when I die, children have no value for it. So I gave it to them and also had a file in which each sheet had what we did that day. From 3rd of December to the 16th of December. Every pilot's name was there, every helicopter's name was there, time we took off, time we landed, A to B, where we went. So that file also was with me. And I went and handed over so that file is also at USI in their museum. These are the senior officers who were with me. General Sqn Singh, of course, was in charge of the 4 Corps. And again, I'm repeating, if there was no General Sqn Singh, there would have been no Bangladesh. So just remember that when I'm telling you the story. It was just he and he alone who had the vision of going to Dhaka. No other general had decided to go to Dhaka. And General Manik Shaw and Arora and Jacob and everybody had decided they will capture few cities as they go along. And that is the instruction given to all the corps. And General Sqn Singh's Corps, 4 Corps was told, just look after the Tripura area and make sure Pakistanis don't come to the Indian side. Maximum they were allowed to go was up to Meghna. That's it. And Sqn Singh said, yes, sir. And of course, he kept his own ideas to himself. When the war games were going on in Calcutta, whenever the senior officers were invited to Calcutta, General Arora, General Manik Shaw, and General Jacob, and all the other corps commanders went to Fort William to plan the war, General Sqn Singh was never invited because he only had a defensive role. So whatever they were planning in Fort William, the CIA and the Chinese intelligence and the Pakistani intelligence were picking it up. And before the Indian army even came to know what they were planning, all Pakistanis already knew. Only good thing was General Sqn Singh was never invited. So whatever Sqn Singh had in mind, nobody knew. So which is the most wonderful thing that happened because he was not being invited. But General Sqn Singh had his own plans. In June or July of 71, he had gone to Survey of India and Dehradun and got maps made for East Pakistan. He was the only general who had maps. I don't know about the other generals, but for sure 4 Corps had the maps, latest maps of the East Pakistan. Maps we had were million maps, as they're called, from the 1940s, which the Britishers had left behind. So you can imagine the difference we had between 1940 maps and the 1971 maps. And the other general, Group Captain Chennai Singh was station commander of Jorat, that's the Dakota squadrons and all the base there. And he had been given a job to train, the Bengalis who had left Pakistan Air Force, deserted and come to India. And the technicians who had deserted from Pakistan Air Force and come to India. They were all told to go to Dimapur. In Dimapur, Group Captain Chennai Singh was there, Flight Lieutenant Singla was there, and there was another Koshal, Squadron Leader Koshal was there. And they were training on the helicopter, and they were training on the twin order, and there was a Dakota to do all the transportation for them. So they were there from June, July onwards, 1971, and they were training them. And they had a guns fitted to the helicopter and to the twin order, and they had a rocket launcher fitted to the helicopter and to the twin order. And so they had been training, they've been firing, they've been practicing everything. They were like the Mukti Bhani people in the air. Mukti Bhani was doing everything on the ground, and these pilots and engineers were doing everything from the air. And I'll show you the picture of one of the Elvets with the rocket launcher and the gun at the end of this thing. And the 3 officers you see here, Squadron Leader Sandhu was CEO of my CO, 110HU. Sqn Ldr Kyriapa was CEO of 111 in Hashimara, and Sqn Ldr Chabra was CEO of 105. And all these senior officers were just too wonderful with me, and we worked like a team, and they just sent me instructions, and I just got on with it and did the job. And whenever I needed them, I was short of pilots, I would ring up, contact Sandhu or Kyriapa or Chabra. I said, sir, I need a pilot to fill up this seat. And they will all jump and they'll all come along and help me. So it was a wonderful team effort. It went very, very well. This, of course, is a standard map. Before 47, we were all together. And after partition, East and West Pakistan. And after 71, the Bangladesh came into being. This is the map of East Pakistan. And you can see the aircraft marked everywhere. And that is the Air Force stations all along the border of East Pakistan. Mostly fighters. And we had helicopters where the yellow marks are there, Kumbigram, Hashimara, and Chabua. And in Jorat, we had the Dakotas. And there must be some other transport planes as well. I don't remember where they were. But as you can see, there were a lot of fighter aircrafts over there. So we were already prepared to attack East Pakistan at any moment. And when the refugees started coming in, the army was told to set up camps all the way along the border and collect able-bodied men and women and start training them to become Mukti Bhani, in which we were doing. And any smart people were sent to the officer training camp, which was south of Sikkim. So Mukti Bhani officer training camp was south of Sikkim, and the army was training them as well. So all the time, from March, April, June, May onwards, the training was going on for Mukti Bhani. And some of our Bengali officers from the Indian Army had joined Mukti Bhani as well to help them in the war. Main job the Mukti Bhani had was to harass the Pakistanis in some way or the other so that they have sleepless nights. So the Mukti Bhani on the ground was doing it on the ground, and the Mukti Bhani helicopters were doing it from the air. So when the war started on 3rd of December, we were told to disperse from Kumbigram. We were in Kumbigram, which is quite near the border. So at Pakistan Air Force, we were within their range. They could have come and attacked us. But they only had one squadron, and they were at Dhaka. So they stayed around Dhaka, and they were just monitoring the Dhaka area, and they were helping the Pakistan Army wherever they were required. But there were not many aircraft. And right in the beginning, Indian Air Force came and attacked the hell out of the Dhaka airport. And so the Dhaka airport became non-functional within 3 or 4 days. So they were grounded. Pakistan Air Force was grounded completely. So 3rd of December, the war started. The first thing we did was we sent the twin order and the Elwet helicopter, fully loaded with guns and rockets and everything. And they were the first ones who went to Chittagong and another place in East Pakistan. And they were the first one to attack a fuel tank, and they blew up the fuel tank. So after that, the Indian Air Force got involved. Because our army had already started moving in from east and west. From end of October onward, we were already moving in slowly into East Pakistan. So on the 3rd, as I said, on 3rd of December, when the official war started, our helicopters, 4 helicopters came to Telimara. Telimara is here near Agartala at the bottom, you can see. Yeah, here is the Agartala, here is Telimara. Telimara was about 40 kilometers from Agartala. And that is where the forecourt, General Saqn Singh, was based. And first thing he got hold of was Akura. Akura was on the Pakistan side, and Akura was attacking Agartala airport. So Agartala airport could not be used. So first thing General Saqn Singh said, let's take over Akura. It took them 2 or 3 days. I think it was 5th evening or 6th morning, we were able to capture Akura. Once Akura became ours, then Agartala airport could be operated. So all our helicopters, 8 helicopters from my unit, arrived at Agartala on the 5th evening. And the 6th morning, 4 helicopters from Chabua arrived. So we had 12 helicopters by now. And the 3-4 days, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th December, 3 or 4 days, all we did was casualty evacuation, supply of arms and ammunition, and then carrying out communication flights for generals and brigadiers or whoever wanted to go to different stations. So on the 6th evening, we were told we're going to take people to Sylhet, which is over there, from a place called Kalora, which is over there. So we moved 8 helicopters from Agartala. We took them to Kalashar. Kalashar is an airstrip, Second World War airstrip, just a kilometer on the Indian side. And we parked ourselves there, and kilo flight which is Group Captain Chandan Singh, who was in charge of, had also come to Kalashar. So their aircraft were also in Kalashar. And we, 7th morning, we arrived there 9 o'clock and waiting for briefing. And Brigadier Quinn, who was in charge of the brigade over there, and Group Captain Chandan Singh arrived, and they took Coordinator Sandhu. And they went and had a look at this helipad at Kalora, which is about 10 kilometers inside East Pakistan. And then they had a look at Sylhet and decided which area they wanted us to land. And they came back to Kalashar and they briefed us what we're going to do. 4-5 Gurkhas were picked. They were the people we were going to carry to Sylhet. And the aim for 4-5 Gurkhas was to block the Pakistan army, which is based at Sylhet, to move south. They didn't want any army. See, Sagat Singh was planning to go to Dhaka, and he didn't want Dhaka to be reinforced by anybody. And this is the biggest cantonment Pakistanis had. They had 2 brigades over there. So Sagat Singh's aim was that he'll send 4-5 Gurkhas there to make sure all the roads are blocked, all the railway lines are blocked, and whatever is there is blocked so that nobody can go south. So after having selected all the helipads, we were told to move to Kalora by midday on the 7th of December. So we moved 7 helicopters to Kalora, and we kept 1 helicopter for casualty evacuation. And I briefed all my pilots that as soon as the passengers come, we load up and we get airborne. We keep a gap of 3 to 4 minutes between each helicopter, so that when we land at Sylhet, only 1 helicopter was on the ground. We didn't want to give a bigger target to the enemy. So I was number 1, then number 2, number 3, 7 helicopters. We had fuel for 3 flights each. So we were waiting from midday, and Kalora was under Indian Army, so we were not worried, and the locals were helping us, and they brought some food for us and everything. And about 2:30, 4-5 Gurkhas started arriving. So I loaded up my helicopter, got airborne about 2:45. It was 20 minutes flying, about 350 roughly direction. And I went and dropped my passengers. The second one took off 3 minutes behind me, the third one 3 minutes behind them. By the time the 4th or 5th helicopter took off, and he arrived at Sylhet, the Pakistan army had started surrounding. And I'll show you the helipad. You can see the landing zone here. And it's about 15 to 20 kilometers away from the main Pakistan garrison. So we were just outside the small arm fires. And this is how our helicopter looked. You can see the, sorry. This is how a helicopter looked. You can see that 2 doors are removed. Only good thing is we were able to land everywhere. We never made people jump from the air. We always landed, and so that nobody gets injured jumping from away. And it's much quicker once you're on the ground rather than people jumping when you're hovering. But you can see the big hole at the back. So the operation carried on. By the time I went the second time, the bullets had increased. The number of bullets, hundreds and hundreds of bullets are coming towards us. By the time we went the third time, the number of bullets was huge. But as I said, we were just out of range. We could see the bullets coming. And when you see a tracer bullet coming, there are 4 more bullets behind it. So the 5 bullets are coming towards you. But as I said, they never reached us. We could see them coming, very scary, but they would never reach us. An odd bullet would reach us and make a hole in the helicopter, but it didn't affect anything, didn't affect the flying, didn't injure anybody. So we carried on flying, and about 6 o'clock, we had finished our 3 trips each. We needed to come back to Kalashar. We came back to Kalashar, refueled, and our engineers started working on the servicing of the helicopter, get them prepared for the next operation. And while they were doing that, one engineer came to me and said, "Sir, one helicopter has not come back." So we called him up on the radio, and we discovered he was in a valley next door. There were small valleys at Kalashar. He was just the next valley. We fired a flare for him. He saw us. He came over and landed, so everybody was safe. So about 7:15 in the evening, and in December in East, it gets dark very quickly. So 7 o'clock was pitch dark, and there was no moon also that day. So I went and told the Chief Group Captain Chandan Singh that helicopters are ready to start the next operation. We'd only dropped 254 soldiers at Sylhet. So he said, no, we're not going, because he'd been flying in the Alvet. He was watching us. And if I could see 100 bullets, he could see the thousands of them. Very scary when you're watching at 5,000 feet, what's going on. So he said, no, we're going in the morning. It's too dangerous. You guys are too slow. You guys are too low. Anybody can shoot it down. You're like a sitting duck, which is quite true. Helicopters, anybody can shoot us down. So he said, no, we go in the morning. The brigadier said, the war doesn't stop just because the night has come, and you only dropped 254 of my soldiers. And the other thing which had happened, 4-5 Gurkhas had not taken their HF radio with them. So we were not even in contact with the people we had dropped over there. And the reason they had not taken the radio was, they thought we'll just keep going. And they hadn't planned who's going to go first, who's going to go second, who's going to go third. They thought we'll just keep going till everything is delivered. So they had no radio. So we had no contact with the 254 soldiers. And here the discussion is going on between the brigadier and the group captain. And the group captain is telling him, if I send a helicopter and it gets shot down, I'll lose the pilots, I'll lose the aircraft, I'll lose the passengers. What is the gain? He says, but 254 soldiers are there. What happens to them? And 2 brigades of Pakistan Army there. Nearly more than 6,000 soldiers, 7,000 soldiers of Pakistanis are there. Good thing is, BBC announced that Indian Air Force had dropped 1 brigade of Indian Army at Sylhet. So that pissed off the Pakistanis as well. So they didn't come anywhere close to us. And Colonel Harulka, who was in charge of the 4-5 Gurkhas, he made sure his army was spread out nicely, and they were firing at different times to give an impression that he had a much bigger army there at Sylhet. So the Pakistanis didn't come close to us. In the meantime, our troops had spread out and had started blocking the roads which they had been assigned to stop blocking the roads so that none of the Pakistanis can go south. So about 11 o'clock, and at briefing to all my pilots was, if there's no flying, please go to sleep. Because we were literally working 24/7. So all my pilots were sleeping. And I was probably sleeping as well. Then 11 o'clock, I was woken up, please come. And the group captain wants to see you. So I went to see him. And he said, we have decided to send 1 helicopter. If it goes and comes back, then we'll send the rest. Get 1 crew ready. I said, I'll go myself. So I came to the crew room. It was quarter the size of this room. Everybody was sleeping. And I said, I need a volunteer to come with me. Every one of those 30-odd pilots put their hands up. They should have been all scared, but everybody's josh was so high. Everybody's, were ready to go. So I picked up one of the gentlemen flying officer, Kant Reddy. And then we picked up the flight engineer. Just after 12, midnight, we got airborne. And this is my helicopter trying to land at Sylhet airport. And this painting was done by Group Captain Dev Gohan. And when I told him to do this painting, he was very kindly agreed. And I said, there were hundreds of bullets coming to me. So he started drawing hundreds of bullets. He says, if I draw hundreds of bullets, your helicopter disappears behind those bullets. I said, Chika, I only just put few so that it's visible. So that's what he did. He only put about 5-6 bullets to show the bullets are coming towards us. So I had briefed my passengers that as soon as I land, everybody jumps out. So when I got airborne, it was pitch dark, no moon as well. I knew the helipad in daytime. I knew there was a river, I knew there was a bridge, and I knew a kilometer after the river was the helipad. But then that is in daytime. Raat mein kya hota hai, it's a different story. But I was fairly sure if I maintain my direction and I will maintain the distance and I see the river and I see 1 kilometer behind, I should be able to land there. Then one flying officer, Sharma, had gone as a liaison officer between the army and the air force, and he was in Sylhet, and he came up on the radio. About time you guys came, what took you so long? I was so happy to hear his voice. I said, what is the situation like on the ground? He says, everything is quiet, 12:30 ka time hai, everybody is sleeping. I light a fire for you. So that is the fire he lit. Can you see the fire on the left-hand side? And once I knew the fire, I knew where I have to go. And as I said, I had briefed my passengers. As soon as I land, everybody out, I'll be airborne in 30 seconds. When I was on the finals, the amount of bullets that were coming towards me, even now I can see them coming towards me. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bullets coming towards me. We landed, we dropped the passengers, and we got airborne literally less than a minute. And as soon as I got airborne and I turned away from the helipad, I told my flight engineer, quickly go and have a look how many bullet holes we got. So he went around with the light on, torch on, came back with a big grin. Sir, you won't believe we don't have a single bullet hole. Not one bullet hole. I was flabbergasted. I was amazed. I said, the only reason Pakistanis have not been able to hit us is they can't see us. So if they can't see us, I can get the rest of the helicopters coming in. So I rang up base. I said, come on, guys, these people don't know how to fire. We're all going in, start getting ready. I came running back, picked up the next load. I had fuel for 3 flights. Picked up my next load, went running back again, dropped my next load, again got airborne, again without any bullets. Came running back, picked up my 3rd load, went running back again, dropped my 3rd load. This time when I got airborne, my tank was, my fuel gauge was showing 0. But my rotor was running, my engine was running. I said, obviously we had fuel. So 3 of us were spraying, whoever was up there, please take us back home. We got back home, and 1 bullet had gone through the engine and hit the cable going to the fuel gauge and broken the cable. And it literally stopped where my finger is. The bullet has slowed down in the engine and then hit the cable, broke the cable and stopped there. We found the bullet when the helicopter came to base. And they opened the panel, they chained the cable, fuel gauge was working, they put fuel in my helicopter. 4 more helicopters that got ready by that time. They started operating, I joined them. Whole night we operated. Next day we operated. 8th night, 9th morning we operated. We took artillery guns also. We took Mukti Bhani people also. 9th morning, 9 o'clock. So from 7th afternoon to 9th morning, working literally 24/7, we delivered 900 soldiers. We delivered their load. We delivered the artillery guns. And they nicely arranged themselves. And after that, throughout the war, every day we used to get message, casualties are there, we need more arms, we need more ammunition. Helicopter would go and deliver that. And whenever they needed more stuff, Group Captain Chandan Singh was advised, and he would get a fixed wing, like a Caribou or a Dakota, to come and drop whatever the 4-5 Gurkhas wanted. So we were delivering all the stuff throughout the war, and whenever they needed fighters would be invited, and they'll come and play havoc into the Sylhet garrison. So Pakistanis never came out of the garrison, they stayed in the garrison. And our troops managed, and the 16th or 17th of December, I think 17th of December, they surrendered to our 1 battalion. 2 brigades of Pakistan Army surrendered to 1 battalion of 4-5 Gurkhas. Amazing. And they didn't move out. Pakistanis never moved out south. So after this, we came back to Agartala, and standard briefing at Agartala was, park your helicopter, hand it over to the engineers, run to the toilet, because that is the only place we had a toilet, run to the food, because that's the only place we had food, and then go to sleep. Standard briefing for all the pilots. So everybody would hand over the helicopter, toilet, food, sleep. So everybody was sleeping. By the time I arrived, everybody was sleeping. I was probably the last helicopter back from Sylhet. I parked my helicopter and I did the same. I went to sleep. But 11ish, I got a call from General Sagat Singh. I want to see you. So I went running to the runway. He was sitting in an Alvet helicopter. Alvet is a 6-seater, 3 seats in the front, 3 seats at the back. 2 pilots were there, and General Sagat Singh was sitting in the front. I sat at the back. My CO, Sqn Sandhu, was sitting at the back, and 1 brigadier was sitting at the back. He said, I'll show you the next helipad. And that is the next helipad here, Raipura. See, now, after seeing what we did at Sylhet and how efficiently we did, and without any hiccups, he knew how to get to Dhaka. His original plan was to go by boat or by road. Road, he had to cross this river, River Meghna, and there's a bridge here called Coronation Bridge. And we were getting closer and closer to Coronation Bridge. 4-5 Gurkhas were getting, not 4-5 Gurkhas, 4 Corps was getting closer and closer to Ashuganj and to cross the bridge. Then Pakistanis realized that we were getting very close, they blew up the bridge. So the Coronation Bridge was blown up. So so he knew the best way to get to Dhaka is by helicopters, because he had seen us in Sylhet. Now he knew how to get to Dhaka. And after he showed us Raipura, we came back and we went to Ashuganj area. He wanted to have a look at the Coronation Bridge, which had been blown up. And then on the way back, he said, this is all under Indian control, we can come down. So we started coming down. We came to 1,000 feet. And suddenly we heard this noise, put. Bullets going right through the helicopters. Even now I can see those bullet holes in the Alvet helicopter. It's like a prospect, little prospect the Alvet has got. And the pilot got injured on his shoulder. The co-pilot took over, climbed away very quickly. General Sagat Singh had 1 bullet go right across his forehead, but nothing injured him. It just went scraping through his forehead. And we landed back at Sylhet and at Agartala, and we shut down. And I came to know there were 38 bullet holes in that helicopter. That means there were 19 bullets which went through that helicopter. One pilot was injured. General Sqn Singh had a scrape over his forehead. Rest of the bullets didn't touch any of us. So some Bhagwan was watching us and keeping an eye on us, and none of us were injured. Can you imagine? Tiny helicopter, 6-seater, bullets going everywhere, through the legs, through the hands, but not touching any of us. Absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. So anyway, after I landed at Agartala, I had the briefing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'd been told take 8 helicopters and go to Brahmabaria, and then 4 guards will be coming and we'll be taking them across to Raipura. And so we landed there about 3:30 in the afternoon, and we shut down. We were waiting for the 4 guards to come. And over there on the river banks, there were hundreds and hundreds of dead bodies. Men, women, children. And it was such a shock. I asked the local people, "Kya hua yahan pe?" He says, the Pakistanis were retreating from here. They just gathered everybody and shot them. What do you achieve by doing that? I have no idea. I can't get my head around. What do you achieve by killing children, women, men, 300 of them, and then running away from there, you know? Anyway, that's what they did. Luckily for me, I didn't see any more dead bodies because we were always flying. We had no time to shut down anyway. So about 3 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, I divided my helicopters on 2 groups of 4. And the one set of 4 helicopters, I was going to be in charge, and the other set of 4 helicopters, and my flight deputy Jaraman was going to be in charge. The idea was we take off from Brahmabaria, go to Raipura, and the first 4 helicopters will turn left and come back to Brahmabaria, and the second lot will land at Raipura and go right and come back. So we could operate 2 helicopters at the same time rather than 1 helicopter. But the other thing good was that we were far away from Bera Bazar, about 25-30 kilometers. So we were out of range. We could see them firing at us, but we were way out of range. They didn't look scary like Sylhet. The other thing the army learned and our Air Force learned at Sylhet was we shouldn't be close to the garrison. So the rest of the helipads were far away from the enemy. So we never saw any more firing after the Sylhet operation. So we started our operation at 4 o'clock, and I'd briefed my palace that after land, usually 1 minute on the ground, everybody jumps out and then you get airborne. And the second helicopter is, again, line astern, one behind the other. And if the first helicopter is still on the ground, slow down or land left or right, because it's a big field. No problem. Anybody could land. So when I landed, Group Captain Chandan Singh had gone with me. He wanted to see the helipad. So he spent a little extra time. He had gone out of the helicopter. He was looking out the helipad. And by the time he came back, I was still on the ground. And the second helicopter had approached. And he suddenly saw, oh, he's still on the ground. And without thinking, he overshot. And that is just the time I was just going to get airborne. And I was just going to pull my collector off, get airborne. And intuition told me, wait. And I waited for a minute. Then I saw this helicopter go right on top of me. And if I had taken off, I probably would have hit him. May not have hit him, but I probably would have hit him. And 2 of us would have been written off. So intuition, again, Bhagwan was watching us. And to be we were safe. So after that, the whole night we were operating. We came back to Agartala every now and then when we needed fuel, pick up fuel and go back again. And then 3 in the morning, one of the helicopters called me, sir, we got no passengers. The second one says, sir, I got no passengers. The third one, the fourth one, 4 helicopters and no passengers. I said, okay, guys, we've been flying whole night. Let's shut down. We'll have a little break. I'll go and find out kya ho raha hai yahan pe. So I went, there was a lieutenant colonel there. I said, sir, what's going on? He says, I want all the 8 helicopters over my unit. I said, sir, 10 minutes mein aa rahe hain wapas. What is the big deal? I can't keep flying empty aircraft just because he want all the 8 helicopters. So he understood after 2-3 minutes of chit chat. Then he started loading up, and then of course the whole night we operated. Till 9th evening we were flying, and we delivered nearly 1,000 soldiers and their equipment and everything at Raipura. Once everybody had arrived at Raipura, General Sqn Singh realized there was no enemy there. So he told them, make headway from Raipura to Narasingdi. So whatever means they could find trucks, they could find buses, they even found railway wagons. They loaded them up, and everybody started moving. All those 1,000 soldiers we had dropped at Raipura started moving toward Narasingdi. So we all came back to Agartala, again standard briefing, hand over the helicopter, the engineers, and go to sleep after your food and toilet, which we all were doing. And group captain came and says, hey, I'll come and show you the next helipad. So he picked me up and he came and showed me Narasingdi helipad. And Narasingdi, as you can see, is 40 kilometers from Brahmabaria. And we said we'll start on the 10th of December, we will start at 5:30 in the morning. So that means the night we had to go and park ourselves at Brahmabariya. We took 10 helicopters to Brahmabariya, shut down there, and hall was, I think, 1/3 the size of this hall. 60 of us, pilots, engineers, everybody went to sleep there. There was no food there, there was no toilet there, nothing. Just we went to sleep. And 5:30 on the clock, we all got airborne. You know, the army was already there. We loaded them up and we all got airborne. And we started operating from Brahmabariya to Raipura. And we kept flying till fuel ran out, came to Agartala, picked up fuel. The whole day we kept flying. 10th, 11th, and 12th. 4 days we flew. Yeah, 10th, 11th, 12th. 3 days. And we delivered 1,000 soldiers, we delivered the equipment, we delivered everything at Narasingdi. And we came back to Agartala. Once we had done that, and again everybody was fast asleep, again Group Captain said, come, I'll show you the next helipad we're going to go. So we went and saw Dadakundi, which is over here, and we're going to go to Badya Bazar, and this is Dhaka. So as you can see, we're getting closer. We started from Raipura, all the people from Raipura came to Narasingdi, and all the people from Narasingdi were made to come to this area. This is the direction they were all following. And then there were army coming from this side. They told us to go to Dadakundi, be there at 7:30 in the morning on the 14th of December. So we got there at 14th of December, 7:30 in the morning, and we were waiting for our army to arrive. They had got bogged down somewhere. And as you can see, we were so close to Dhaka. We had nobody giving us protection. Of course, some army was there, some Indian army was there, but not many people. I had 12 helicopters there, and the locals had brought fruits and vegetables and boiled eggs and whatever to give it to us. And they were all giving it to us, and we were giving them money. And they were surprised looking at us, "Hey, paise bhi de rahe." Pakistanis had never given them any money, you know. And so they were amazed. We were handing over money to them for whatever food they were giving us. And the other thing was, wherever we landed, all our pilots, there was so much arms and ammunition lying around. Pakistanis had left. So we were all picking up souvenirs and putting them in the helicopter. Then I saw some of the pilots had grenades stuck in their belts. And it dawned on me, ek pin nikla aayega to sabko faada ho jayega. I said, guys, whatever you collect, I have no problem. Please give me the grenades. So I collected all the grenades and give them to the Indian Army. I said, anytime you see a grenade, please hand it over to the Indian Army. I don't want any grenades in our area. But guns and rifles and pistols, whatever you want to pick, you can pick. There was no problem. So we collected a lot of souvenirs, but we never brought them because we had no place to give them. You know, we brought them to the Agartala airport, probably kept them there, and somebody else probably took it and, took it as a souvenir. We had no time to think about it. But there was plenty there. And I'll just go through little things which I made little notes so that I don't miss anything. As I said, we didn't write anybody's name, who we were carrying. We didn't have facility to weigh anybody. We didn't know what weight we were carrying. We had no ropes, we had no belts, we had no nets. So we were loading up everything and telling the passengers to sit on top of it. And luckily, nobody fell down. Flight engineers were wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Our engineers, they kept every helicopter flying every day for the entire 2 weeks, working in the field. No helicopter was grounded. And our pilots, wow, 24/7 we were working. Not one accident. Absolutely most wonderful. And flight engineers, wow, they were the last person in and the last person out, managing all the passengers, managing all the load. Hats off to them. Absolutely hats off to them. The whole operation was so wonderful. And so after this, they arrived at Dadakundi, the passengers arrived, and 2 days we carried about 1,500 soldiers, and we dropped them at Badya Bazar. And then we came back to Agartala again, and we heard on the news there's going to be ceasefire. And now remember, all this time, the Indian Army had been briefed, the different corps had been told, we're going to capture half of East Pakistan and put the refugees back. They never imagined that we can capture the whole country. Never imagined. We didn't have the capacity to capture the whole country. So we had been briefed. Everybody had been given certain cities to capture. And Sagar Singh had also been given. And Sagar Singh, of course, disobeyed all the orders. He said that system will not work. Only way to get Bangladesh in our side is get to Dhaka. Dhaka was not being planned by Manekshaw or by Jacob or by Aurora. And everybody had been given different cities. But if you go to a different city and attack them, they were well defended. And you spend time to dislodge them, and you kill some of your own soldiers get killed, and you waste so much ammunition. And of course, more than that is waste time. And Sagat Singh said, if I get to Dhaka before world wakes up to the fact war is on, then we'll win. And that's exactly what he was able to achieve with the helicopters. And he had 80 boats which he had managed to get, and all the local Bengali sailors were helping us. They were employing those boats. So all the big ammunition was going by boats as well. And he told the tanks to swim across the river Meghna. Most of those tanks usually go 2 or 3 kilometers. Here it was 10 to 15 kilometers. And I don't remember the name of the captain, major who was there. He took a helicopter and he had a look at all the little helipads, little islands in the river. So he could hop from one island to the next island to the next island. And they were able to take the entire lot of tanks across the river. And they were able to go towards Dhaka as well. While we were moving our soldiers by helicopters and all, the tanks were going across the Meghna as well. So General Sagat Singh had told General Aurora, I'm going direct. In the beginning, General Aurora was very upset. You're disobeying orders. He says, I'm telling you, the only way we can capture Bangladesh, East Pakistan, is by going to Dhaka. And if I stop on the way and start attacking all the little cities, I'll be wasting time, I'll be wasting ammunition, I'll be wasting soldiers. I just don't want to fight anybody. I just want to go to Dhaka. And that's exactly what he kept doing. And helicopters, wow. And we just took him straight across. So 9 days, from 7th of December to the 15th of December, we delivered nearly 5,000 soldiers. This is the painting which is over there as well. It's done by Captain Dev Gohen. Just gives you an example of Meghna crossing. After the crossing, we had dropped all the soldiers and all the helicopters are landing. Now there was no enemy, so we could operate 4 helicopters at the same time. Sorry, it just shows you some pictures of the operation, and the guns are being carried. All the guns had to be dismantled. We couldn't carry the full gun together. They had to be broken up in 3-4 pieces. And so all the guns are being carried, and you can see the operation going on. 4 helicopters flying together. That is Colonel Bahel on 13th of December firing into Dhaka first, and that gun was brought by the helicopter as well. So he was the first bullets being firing into Dhaka on the 13th of December. These are the load figures you can see. And these are very conservative figures because I had no time to write anybody's name. We had no time to make manifests. We had no time to write anything down. So these are the figures we guessed. And I think the number is much larger than this. And 518 sorties we did, which we had recorded, and 450 hours of flying. And even the staff at Agartala Airport, the refueling staff, the air traffic controllers, they were wonderful. They were working 24/7, just like us. Fuel was available 24/7. Air traffic control was available 24/7. Absolutely wonderful. And these are the tanks I was telling you. Some more photographs of the operation going on, even when the agriculture people are still working, the farmers are still working. And this is the surrender ceremony. Now, on the 15th, we came to know the ceasefire is taking place. So everybody is very happy. Everybody is relaxing in Agartala. And now, Sagat Singh's prophecy had come true. He says, if I get to Dhaka, before people wake up, before UN wakes up, before the Americans wake up, before the Britishers wake up to have a ceasefire. Now, if I had a ceasefire, that means Indian army has to leave. That means Pakistan wins. If Indian army had left East Pakistan, that means Pakistan wins. But that's what Sagat Singh didn't want. He says, if I get to Dhaka first, and then General Jacob, in a little unarmed Alvet helicopter, on 16th morning, arrived I think about 11 o'clock or something, he arrived in Dhaka, and he told General Niazi, either you surrender or you die. Only 2 choices. I says, if you don't surrender, we'll let the Bengalis in and they'll kill all 93,000 of your soldiers. No bother at all, because you've been killing them for the whole year. They were more than happy to come and kill you. And General Niazi realized that. All the time, he kept saying, ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. And Jacob told him, no ceasefire. You surrender or you die. And he had no choice because our troops were standing outside and Tangel drop had happened and our fighters had blown up the governor's house on the 14th of December. Our fighters had played havoc all over East Pakistan. So they were on their knees. They were ready to surrender. And especially if you have soldiers on the ground, they have no choice. You know, Air Force can attack like hell, but unless you have soldiers on the ground, the country cannot be taken over. And our soldiers is outside. So when Jacob told him, he says, okay, I'll give you half an hour, you decide. And he came back after half an hour, he says, okay, we go ahead. He says, under Geneva Convention, we look after you. And we did, 93,000 soldiers. We took away to India for 2 years. We did the seva to them. And I was told, all the VIPs will go in the Albert helicopter. So all the VIPs went in the Albert helicopters. And I had 5 Mi-4s in which the reporters are going to go. And I was told only the pilots flying will be going. I said, yes, sir. But I had 25 pilots and engineers who were spare. And I gathered them. I said, listen, 5 each get into the helicopter first before I load up the reporters, which is what I did. So I smuggled 25 of my pilots and engineers to Dhaka because they didn't want any of my pilots or my engineers to miss once in a lifetime surrender ceremony, just because some extra reporters could have gone. But anyway, we took all the reporters because we loaded up like hell right to the brim. They were all standing, no sitting place, no sitting belts. We didn't write anybody's name, but they were all packed. As many as people could get in, they were all packed right to the helicopter. Each helicopter had probably 30 people, 30 in my helicopter. And we reached there just before 4 o'clock, and Dhaka was just too gorgeous. Everybody wanted to shake hands. Everyone wanted to give us hugs and all, just like in the Second World War movies, when you see the barricades going into Paris. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And any number of transports were there. They all gave us a lift, took us to the Madan where the signing took place. We saw the signatures. We saw the signing. About midnight, we all came back. And of course, after that, all celebrations were going on. And our helicopters kept going to Bangladesh for 6 months after that. Till May, we were going into Bangladesh regularly. I was there myself for 6 weeks. And nobody knows about this. General Sqn Singh became de facto governor, military governor of East Pakistan, of Bangladesh. And he, in my view, he invited all the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the police to come under him and told them, listen, go back to work, make sure all law and orders maintained, come to us for help, Army will look after you. And 4 Corps and all the other corps who were in East Pakistan made sure law and order was maintained. And so you never hear of any problems after the independence. And they maintained law and order till the Bangladesh government arrived back from Calcutta, and he handed over the government to them in March time. And also, I had the pleasure of meeting wonderful idols from Bollywood. Sunil Dutt was there, Nargis was there, Varthaman was there, Lata Mangeshkar was there. I knew them before. I had met them in Jaisalmer when they were shooting Leshman Chera. So when they saw us, they said, come on the stage. So we all on the stage with them. What a pleasure it was to meeting them all over again. And in Chittagong, Nargis and Varthaman were standing to go to the stadium. I said, come, I got a beetle. I'll take you in my little beetle which Army had given me. So I had these wonderful ladies as my passengers. So I took them to the stadium and delivered them. What a pleasure it was to have these 2 ladies as my passengers. So it was wonderful. The whole experience was the best I had in my life, and thoroughly enjoyed myself. And as I said, our engineers were wonderful. Kept every helicopter flying. Our flight engineers, wow, the way they handle the passengers, the way they handle, and our pilots. Not a single accident. I keep repeating it. I'm so proud of those youngsters. I'm so proud that none of this happened. And nobody complained about anything. Hum nahi jayenge, pet dard ho raha, ye ho raha, wo raha. No like this. Everybody was ready to jump and everybody was ready to fly. Thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. And I'll show you this is the kilo flight. You can see the rocket launcher here, and you can see the guns. And same thing was in the otter as well. They were using them for the otter as well. And that's and that's the book we just launched in November, and it's available on Amazon as well. It's a beautifully written book. It describes what we did, what I told you. We also spoke to all the Army units we airlifted. We got stories from them and intermingled with my stories so that we are authenticating each other. What I'm saying, they're saying the same thing. So the book covers the entire 2 weeks of the operation. And it went very well. And the book is available on Amazon. You're more than happy to buy it over there. And we got some painting to give a present as well. Thanks very much. If any questions are there, I'm more than happy to answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it is a standing ovation. What a phenomenal job he has done. More than job, he has come and shared with us thing and lovely job. Thank you. You don't mind overshooting because we are always used to discipline. So maybe you would like to share that experience in the next 5 minutes of an accident when you are flying with British Airways.
Okay.
5 minutes because a lot of online viewers, more than 1,000 viewers are watching. You want to finish it on time. Go ahead, sir.
After I left the Indian Air Force in 74, I went to UK and joined British Airways. And British Airways had helicopters just like Bombay High going offshore. So we were flying from Aberdeen to offshore. And I converted on to Chinooks in 1981. So from 1981 to 1986, for 5 years, I was flying Chinooks. At 2,500 hours experience, I've flown 10 different helicopters. And Chinook, in my view, in spite of my accident, was the best helicopter I've ever flown. Mainly because it has so much power. Full fuel, full number of passengers, full load, we still had spare capacity. And we had 6.5 hours of endurance, which is very, very rare for a helicopter. Usually you're always weighing up, if the weather is bad, you drop one passenger, carry extra 100 kilos. If the weather is very, very bad, drop 2 passengers, carry 200 kilos. Here, didn't matter how much load we had, how much passengers we had, we still had spare capacity. I was enjoying it thoroughly. So I'll tell you the story of what happened on 6th of November 1986, and you can Google it, and my story is available. Mr. Google likes me as well, and you can watch it. And on 6th of November, I was given the job. We were flying for Shell. We were in a place called Shetland Island. Shetland Island is 150 miles north of the mainland Scotland. And we were based there from Monday to Friday. And we had 2 sets of crew. Morning crew did 2 flights, and afternoon crew did 1 flight. So I was the morning crew. And my co-pilot was a chap called Mike Stanley. And the co-pilot in the afternoon crew was Naval Nixon. Now, Naval Nixon had not been flying. He'd given up flying for 4 years and gone home to help his wife set up a shop. And he just joined us about 4 months earlier. So he asked Mike Stanley, can I swap duties with you? So he swapped duties with him. He shouldn't have been with me in my helicopter. So because he wanted to fly extra, morning we did 2 flights, afternoon they only did. Afternoon we did, this is the army one. You want my, I have a PowerPoint on my phone. Okay. But the wreckage is beautiful to see if you want to see the photographs. I can give it to them. Anyway, on 6th of November, Mike Stanley had changed, so he came with me in the morning flight. 9 o'clock, we were flying for Shell. Shell had 4 platforms, Brent Alpha, Brent Bravo, Brent Charlie, Brent Delta. Our job was to go to Brent Charlie and Brent Delta, drop 20 passengers, pick up 22 passengers, and same thing for Brent Delta. Last minute, they gave us a 10-kilo package to drop on Brent Alpha. That added 10 minutes to my flying. My accident happened 2 minutes before landing. So if I didn't have the 3rd landing, I would have been on the ground before my accident happened. I'm just giving you the background. 9 o'clock, we got airborne. Sorry. I'll just give it to him. The photograph is so, sorry. It's on, it's on my, there are to see how they can get rid of it. See this one. This one here. Absolutely, you can use it. Yeah. This is the one I want to show. Sorry? Sorry? आप कर लो, अपने आप कर लो. So we got him at 9 o'clock. I was the handling pilot. Handling pilot means you are controlling the flights. We share the plane. So I was flying out and I landed on Brent Alpha, did the job. Brent took Brent Charlie, did the job. Brent took Delta, did the job. And then I handed over the control to co-pilot. He was going to fly back. So he became the handling pilot. Now the difference between handling pilot and non-handling pilot is when you're handling the controls, your back is not resting. When you're not handling the controls, your back is resting. So this will become relevant when my accident happened. So we got airborne, 2,500 feet. We're setting course back. And after we were airborne, set course to 2,500 feet, we put the autopilot on, helicopters flying, we chit-chatting and spending time. And when we got closer to this Sambra airport, 40 miles, we started descending. We came down to 1,000 feet, asked for clearance to land. I got clearance to land. Then I told the cabin crew, go and check up all the passengers, seat belts on and everything. So he went around, checked all the seat belts. And we were only about 5-6 miles from the runway. Then we started hearing this noise. We were wondering where the noise was coming from. And we were discussing. We couldn't work out. It didn't sound dangerous at all. Then both of us decided we are landing anyway. We'll tell the engineers, have a look at the noise before we go for our next flight. We had a 45-minute gap between the next flight. So that's what we discussed. Then cabin crew came in from the door, gave us a thumbs up, passengers are ready for landing. And then he heard us talking about the noise. He said the noise is coming from the gearbox. He was just standing below the gearbox and he said the noise is coming from this gearbox. Even he was not worried about the noise. It didn't sound dangerous to him also. Then he opened the door, closed the door, and he was going to sit down. But I don't think he sat down because the two rotors, my front gear was breaking up. The noise was the gear that was breaking up. And if they can load it up, I can show you the gear as well. The front gear broke. The two rotors, we have two rotors. One rotor in the front, one rotor at the back. They're counter-rotating. One is going clockwise, one is going anti-clockwise. And they're overlapping, 60% to more, they're overlapping. So the front rotor, the gear broke, and the front rotor slowed down. When it slowed down, the two rotors hit each other. When the two rotors hit each other, the rear rotor, along with the gearbox, nearly 4 tons parted coming from the helicopter. It broke off. Now, if I have a rotor here and a rotor here, and this rotor parted company, helicopter did this. Now I'm flying along like this, and next thing I was like a fighter, I was going upwards. It appeared to be going upwards. Actually, we're going backwards. Gravity is pulling us. So at 100 miles an hour, 0 mile an hour, whiplash effect. And with the whiplash effect, half the people died. And my co-pilot, which I was telling you was a handling pilot, he broke his neck because his back was not resting. The whiplash he got, his neck broke. Because my back was resting, the whiplash I got, my neck didn't break. It was not as bad as the... And when we recovered the cockpit and we brought it back to base, he was still sitting in the cockpit and he looked okay, except his neck had broken. That's all. So he had died and half the other people had died with him. Okay, now I'm like this. I grabbed the controls in my hand in the middle, cyclic control, and I pushed it all the way forward. The front rotor was still turning and it's still responding to what I was doing. And it broke the cockpit from the main cabin. It flipped. The front rotor is attached to the main cabin. It flipped. So once it flipped, I thought the whole helicopter was behind me. Actually, the helicopter was still going backwards. Only the cockpit was going forwards. I could see the sea in front of me. And I'm going down, and we are 300 feet. To the time we hit the water, our speed was 100 miles an hour, roughly, by the time we hit the water. And when they hit the water, the rear part of the helicopter took the impact. Everything was smashed, completely smashed. And the cockpit broke, and it fell in the water. And it was very gentle fall, very, very gentle fall. And it kept going down in the water, kept going down, kept down to 300 feet. 30 feet, 35 feet. It turned over to his side. My side was up. And the emergency window fell off. I could see the sun. It was 11:30. Accident happened at 11:31. I could see the sun, which way I had to go out in the water. And we have 4 belts. I had 4 belts on. It was locked. And when they recovered the cockpit, they found the 4 belts are still on. It was still locked. I hadn't unlocked it. This strap was broken. Who broke the strap? Nobody could tell me. I obviously can't break the strap. But somebody broke the strap for me. You know? So I swam out. No bother at all. I swam out and I came out. Yeah, okay. I can move it now with the slides.
Another 2-3 minutes you can have.
Sorry?
Sir? Maybe 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, it will be very quick. Yes. This is the helicopter. This is the... what?
Back side, we have to go forward.
Yeah, this is the cockpit. This is the cabin, just like a normal airliner. This is you can go from the back and the front. This is the helicopter is showing the two rotors are intermeshing, they're going counter-rotating. Sorry. This is the crash site north of Shetland Island, and this is the gear it's showing which gear it broke. I'll show you the gear. This is the gear which broke. And this is the wreckage. You can see the wreckage. And when the aircraft investigation board came to have a look at it, and they saw me over there, and they asked me, how the hell did he come out of this helicopter? And when I'm telling you the story, I can ask the same question. How the hell did I come out of this helicopter? Not only did I come out, I broke my toe, and I broke my nose, and that was it. Within 3 months, I was medically fit, and I wanted to start flying. My company said, no, you're not flying. Go to this psychiatrist, go to that psychiatrist, they couldn't work out how my head was still working, after this accident. So I went to about 5 different specialists, everybody gave me thumbs up. I flew for 20 years after that.
Thank you. Big round of applause. May I request General Air Marshal to come to the stage. May I request General to please take your place. Mali, can you come on the stage? Can you give? Now I request Mr. Mali to do the honor of presenting the memento on behalf of MMA. First, we give to General. This is a CSR work done by children. May you step forward. CSR work painting children. Come, you can have a picture. One is also made some lovely pictures if you want to present the general as well as the GOC. Can I picture first one of them? This is present with GOC. Sir, may I request please? Yeah. Paint as well.
Yeah. Not me, the group captain, they've gone.
Okay.
Yeah. So we like to present this to you. This is the Meghna crossing.
He's also presenting two pictures to MMA. He'll have a very, very proud to yes, he'll be displayed. Can you bring the pictures? He'll be other photo. No. Come, Kamal. Yeah.
And that's the other. Vata, you can hold that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, which we have to rush it because over 1,100 viewers are watching it online. I got lots of questions, but due to paucity of time. But he has covered all the points what you are raising the questions actually. So thank you so much. Till we meet again. Bye-bye, good night, and get back home safely.